Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nisse and today I just had this piece of area down here where I basically just have too much space. I wanted to do something back here, partly because I wanted to pull more guests in these areas. The palace cat from last week did help a lot, but I want a bit more down here, so I wanted the animal, and we don't have that much space because when I first made this zoo, I didn't think about it, and this is where the originally entrance for the zoo were, so therefore there just ain't that much space down here, and we're gonna try to do something with it anyway. So I thought last week I did my mud reviews and I looked at the Masked Palm Civet or Civet. I'm still not sure. I think I heard someone say Civet or Civet, but I'm not sure. So we're gonna try to do something, and we're gonna make the habitat in two parts. A one-part video, of course, because it's a small habitat, but two parts of this habitat. So in this area on this side of I have I think it's a balloon shop and a toilet, and on this side we're gonna have the water, and we're gonna have kind of a sandy beach. Very basic, not that much going on down here, but it is something where I know the civet would have to get down here a few times during the day. So it's a way to give them a lot more space and make them move around the habitat more. We're also gonna put, I think, one enrichment item down here, but it won't be what draws them down here. In the other end, I wanna make more of a foresty feel, so we're gonna have a lot of climbable trees, and we're gonna make a little tree house today. So if you want to see that, please keep watching. As you've probably seen, if you've seen these beautiful creatures or a picture or just my mud review, they have this elongated body and a very sharp snout, and even sharper teeth. They live for 15 to 20 years and come in multiple of colors that range from brown to gray to yellow to black to white to tan, so pretty much every single color, and they are found in Asia. Now, a thing I find very interesting is actually their diet and their predators, because their main prey is rodents, snakes and frogs, and the predators are lions, snakes and leopards. So therefore they actually both eat and are eaten by snakes. Of course we know that you can get very, very small snakes and very, very large snakes, so it makes sense. It's just a bit fun that they actually eat what eats them. Now I make the barrier climb proof to make sure that the civet doesn't climb through the fence here. And I actually leave a gap open. I does this because I'm lowering this part down here, because the civet actually are very shy, but also a tree climber, and in nature they actually use a lot of their time hiding up in the trees. So therefore I thought, first of all, this would give them some extra space. This would also give me the chance of making a tree house where the guests can look into, but the civet still feels safe. And then furthermore, also give a good view of the animals. An issue though, this is Planet Zoo. So my idea here, I'm pretty sure it works, but it would have worked better if the animals actually did climb more. They do use the treehouse a lot, but the foliage around, they just don't care to climb up, so my guests don't like that they can't see the animals. But besides that point, I still think it's a pretty good habitat. The civet actually live most of their life in trees, which is also why I wanted to give them the possibility of staying up in the trees most of the time here, but they just didn't want to. But they make their nest up in the trees, and actually they can also eat and other things up there. Of course, they mainly eat meat like carnivores, but they are omnivores, which means they can actually also and will actually also eat things like plants, flowers, fruit, vegetables, what's come in handy. I just have to mention this in case anyone wants to make the same mistake as I did. You can really push stones through the edge of your zoo, so therefore it was kind of a hard time because we don't have that many stones that's tall but not wide. And since I really wanted to use these mossy stones, it would look weird if I tried to tip one of them over, because we have very wide stones that aren't that tall. So if I used any other stone than the mossy stones, this would be fine. But since I just had to use the mossy stones, yeah, it gave me a bit of problems. So it took a little more than it usually do to make these kinds of walls, and it also took some extra space inside of the habitat. So the habitat is actually about 2/3 of the size than it was before, but it's fine. Of course, it's fine. Down here, as I said before, we make it a bit beachy, make all of the sand down here, and in the other end we make a lot more dirt. I use first the heavy dirt and then the lighter dirt, and then afterwards I put in a tiny bit of short grass just to make it look more real and a bit more mossy. The civet actually looks a lot like a crossbreed between a cat and a raccoon, or a binturong and a raccoon, but it's actually much closer related to the mongoose. It have a length of 20 to 30 inches, which would be between 50 and 75 centimeters. And they usually weigh from 8 to 11 pounds, being 4 to 6 kilos. The civet actually wouldn't normally be able to protect itself from its predator. Again, that would be the lion, the leopard, and the snakes. But luckily, like the skunk, they do have that scent glands underneath their tail, so they are able to spray out this awful scent to kind of scare them away, and don't smell delicious anymore. And then again, of course, if the scent isn't enough, then they can climb away from them, because even though they aren't fast on the ground, they are made for climbing, so therefore in their own environment they will have the upper hand. In general, the civet is extremely solitary, and it doesn't really like to be around anyone, not other animals, other kinds of animals, or their own species. Therefore normally they wouldn't get into a fight, but if they have to, they will do what it takes to protect themselves and their babies. At this point, you probably already ask, why make a treehouse when I could just have kept the same level as the guests and make a normal shed? Basically, it's because I thought it was more natural to the civet to climb up in the trees and inside some kind of nest. I did think about just making a climbing structure up here, so they will climb up here to the guests. But this actually works better. It gives them a lot of peace and quiet. And I kind of like the idea then that you somehow would be able to take the glass out and have like a hidden door at the glass piece, of course I use one-way glass so the animal don't get stressed. And they actually, in the beginning, they didn't go up here at all, but then I moved a couple up here, and now they up here all the time. So it both did what I wanted, but also it did too well, because I would appreciate if the animals moved more around, but they only want to be up here for some weird reason. I also wanted to make a bit of a step out here, both because I want a rope down and I wanted something to keep the rope in, but also just because I thought it would look nice that they could lay out there in the sun and the guest would come and could see them without the glass up here. And it does. I think it looks cute when they lay, or I haven't seen them lay there. I have seen them walk there, and it does look cute, I think. Of course, I needed to make sure all the time that they can reach it, and here you can see they can reach the lower level of the treehouse, but not the higher level, so I needed to do something in here. So I actually used these bridge pieces, kind of like a incline instead of a bridge piece, which I actually think works very well, but it was a bit finicky to get to work probably, because I thought I could just place one and that wasn't enough. So I kind of have to make this middle step, which also actually works good. So I'm actually happy about it, but I haven't actually seen any of the civics go upstairs here, which is weird. It's the only place in the habitat that have sleeping places. So I thought they would, but I thought wrong. So here you can see we have the entire incline part. Yeah, I have seen them walk on the lower piece, like just walk over it, but not above it. So, but I'm actually very proud of my little tree house here. It wasn't hard to build. A lot of things in Planet Zoo aren't hard to build, but they can be very hard to figure out, get the idea of. It isn't a technical build, but I just haven't had this idea before, so that's new for me. But I like it, and honestly I think most parents would love a treehouse like this with a one-way glass, so you could watch your children what they do in there. So here up I chose to go in and redo the second floor once again, and make it out of these pieces. First I wanted to just place them, but I went in and removed the wood to make the second floor completely out of these pieces. But again, I haven't seen any of the civics up here. I have been keeping an eye out, but it just didn't work. And of course, the big one just didn't fit, so we add some little ones and just tell ourselves it's a baby bed up here. So that's what happens sometimes. The civic is actually one of the few animals that have mating season twice a year. That will be in the spring and the autumn. In both periods they will find some partners, multiple, and just mate with all of them and just see what sticks. Kind of disgusting wording. But the female will be pregnant for 75 to 90 days, and she can therefore of course have 2 litters of baby per year. If it is possible, the female will find a hollowed out tree to give birth in. That way she are protected and hidden for both predators and other civics. A litter of pups, yes, they are also called pups here, vary from 1 to 4 pups each of them only weigh around 3 ounces, which would be around 85 grams. They will, as many other animals, be born with closed eyes, and therefore they are extremely dependent on their mother. But of course the eyes will open later, around the age of 10 days, and about the same time they will begin to walk around. They are nursed by the mother for the first 6 weeks of life, and when they are 2 months old, the pups are completely weaned and can capture their own prey, and therefore will be undependent by the mother. They will normally live around 10 years in the wild, but in captivity they can live up to 20. Again, when you have an animal that are very vulnerable in the wild, they can normally live a lot longer in captivity. That doesn't mean that we should capture them all, but it is a big factor. Now it looks like it's time for the foliage, and I know I jumped over the enrichment. You saw it, I couldn't remember what to put in there, so I actually just used the Zopedia to help me out. I made sure to have some enrichment items up in the treehouse to make sure that they actually wanted to go up there, and it works. I also made sure that it was only normal enrichment and not food enrichments, just to make sure that the keepers could reach the food enrichment. Furthermore, I also chose to put some balls up behind the habitat gate, and that's actually because I assume that they will run down the hill when the animals beginning playing with them, and I just thought that would be fun. Foliage wise, I just made sure to make these two sides very different. Here you can see it based on the water area, and the other side is so much more foresty. After I was done recording, I actually had to go in and move some of the trees in this end of the habitat. Only because, stupid as I am, I know that a pathway there is very narrow, and when you place a tree in the middle of it, your keepers can't go around it. And actually the civet couldn't either, so therefore of course I had to move a bit around. This fence is only for the guests, not for the civet, since it really can't climb up the stones. So I make it in metal because I make it in this shape so guests can actually choose to lean over it with their bodies, and especially kids can use the bottom pieces to use them kind of as a staircase so they can see more. Of course, our stupid guest in this game can't figure out how to use a stair or a ladder. It's probably more like a ladder, but they could if they were real. And I just think it would be amazing to kind of get the feeling there's a lot of stones, you are in the middle of the forest, and then you climb a bit up to watch over the edge of this stone. What's it called? Stone hill? Something like that. So I just thought this would be pretty great, and of course I had to keep them in the colors of green and brown to really make them stay in this forest feel. Of course you would be able to see that it's metal, but I still think it's very great. A kind of fun thing about this animal is that we actually don't know how many there are left in the wild, but they are still listed as least concern, though their population is believed to be decreasing due to loss of habitat and of course poaching activities. But that really isn't the fun part. The fun part is, even though they are least concern and there are that many that we doesn't really know how to count them, but they are already protected under the law of Gansu, China and Malaysia. So it's an animal that we are taking very well care of, even though we believe there are a lot of them out there. Again, we don't know how many, but if they are listed as least concerned, then I guess it's because we believe that there are plenty left in the wild. My information today comes from A to C animals.dk, and of course it is, as always, linked below. And what's also linked below is a link to a tutorial, not by me but by Leaf, because he's so good at explaining technical things. And this is a tutorial about how to download and install mods into your game. So if you want to learn that, his video is down there, alongside with 3 links about the Masked Palm Civet. The one is of course the information, the second is to my video reviewing this mod, and the third one is to Nexus, where you can go and download the mod if you want to try it yourself. I will remind you though that mods aren't officially approved by Frontier, who made Planet Zoo, and therefore there's no approving anything, and there's no way for the modders to know already now if the mods are going to crash your game when we get the new update. You will get the new update even if you don't get the new DLC, because it is a free update. So make sure to remove all of your mods from your game before the new updates, the 21st. And after that you can go in and get new mods, but make sure they are all updated for the 1.10. You can see all the modders put in the name of the mod as to which update they are last updated from. So after the 21st, only use mods that are made for the 1.10 update. Once again, I've been talking way too long, so enjoy the cinematics and I will be back in a minute or two. So everybody, that's all I had for you today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know the frame rate was a bit low today. My game have been triggering a bit, and I think it's because the zoo is getting too big at this point. We will finish it up before the new DLC, so this zoo doesn't crash when I remove all of my mods. But yeah, that's all for now, guys. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comment section down below or in the next video. Bye, guys.